class. This is Dr. Peter Terzov. I haven't done a video on the education channel for a while because I've done so many in the past. Sometimes it's repetitive. And one that kind of came up was about using examples for things. So, and then specific examples. Oftentimes you'll see assignments, he'll say, use an example of something, or do your analysis and provide examples. So students go, okay, well, I'm going to do very general examples. And so, for example, we may say, in general, like, well, the U.S. government does the following things, and we don't want fake news and social media, and we don't want to use government, or we do want to use government. And then they say, well, an example would be is someone posting a fake video about AI, and some people will talk about natural disasters, assassination attempts, um, something like someone died, examples of fake news, like government taking over something, or devastation somewhere, and so, or someone actually attacking someone, making up a false news thing, saying someone said this and try and actually destroy their business. That's like general stuff. But we may say something in general like, well, there was an example of the presidential election cycle 2024, and they showed assassination of Donald Trump, and that was fake and obviously not. So people were panicked. Was Donald Trump assassinated or not? And he's running for president. This is a big deal. And then here's the specific details about that and what it caused. That would be a specific example. I might say, well, we want to do the following things in the area of regulations, and government should not get involved with the following things, or government should get involved with the following things. That's fine. That's an example, like in the areas of freedom of speech and this, that, whatever. That's fine. But go into detail. For example, in the state of Kentucky, there's a stress on the freedom of the Second Amendment, and they passed, Kentucky legislature passed laws in these years, and they did the following things. That would be specific. So whenever you're writing, I would always encourage you to cite in paragraphs of the Goldilocks effect, because that's a way of getting content in detail. Most professors aren't going to argue with that. Having said that, a lot of assignments don't require it, like typically discussion post journals, things like that. But if you do it, it's kind of hard to argue with it. Nice full paragraphs. I always say use headers to organize. Goldilocks effect of paragraphs of 4 to 6 sentences. That's for content analysis. Good grammar never goes out of style. Avoid conversational tone, contracted words, vague words. And if you want to cite and reference, that's even better, right? That puts all that detail. But it's one thing to write nice full paragraphs of the Goldilocks effect with general and vague examples, and then get into the detail of the specific example. Illustrate your point. When you're talking to someone, you don't just say, well, I like when neighbors do help me and do mow yards and help each other and we all get along. For example, my neighbor, Joey Bob, does the following things, and he does this, that, whatever with the garbage cans and brings them in for everybody and really helps everyone to connect. That would be specific, right? So I don't want to harp on this, but that specific, going from a general to specific, very good idea. Just doing the general, not such a good idea. If you're going to just stick with one, go with specifics, but build it up for the viewer. They're reading it, that's the general. Then they get the detail, and you illustrate your point. You make, like for example, we may talk about people doing things in the community. That's great. What about it? Well, we should all be nice to each other. Okay, what does that mean? Well, in Bardstown, Kentucky, there's a group called the Optimist Club, and what they do is they meet once a month and they do the following things, and some of their projects do this, that, whatever, and that really encourages people to be involved and optimistic about their community. That would be specific, right? General, specific. Illustrate your points, let people understand. I appreciate it, and best of luck.